Do you have a verified trust problem? How do you take your unknown identities and be certain that it is a human behind that transaction, that high-value transaction? Oh, good afternoon, everybody. So today I want to talk about a fast-growing problem. It's where organised attackers are no longer just focusing on attacking infrastructure. They're using identity as an attack surface. So this is really about how we protect every interaction that an identity has with our business operations. That might be an employee, it might be a customer, or it might be a business partner type entity. I'd like to talk about two stories that have been well documented in the news before I start this presentation. And the first one is about a lady called Anne. So she's in France, recently divorced. She joins Instagram and decides that that this person makes contact with her. It's a down-and-out actor who quite likes the look of Anne and starts to strike up a relationship with her. And over the course of time, Anne believes that this person has fallen in love with her, and then he starts to say that he's fallen ill, he needs some help with some medical bills. He's in the US. I say down-and-out actor. The name of the actor was Brad Pitt. So this was a group of organised attackers that were using deep fakes in order to defraud Anne. Anne truly believed that it was Brad Pitt that had fallen in love with her. These deep fakes were not just pictures. These were videos of him in hospital, recovering from an operation, of TV news bulletins saying that Brad Pitt had fallen in love with this mystery woman from France, known only by the name Anne. So over the course of this period of time, she was defrauded out of £700,000. So quite a lot of money to be defrauded of. The other story is of a worker in Hong Kong who was asked by the CFO to transfer $25 million to an unknown bank account. He thought this was quite strange. So this was over an email. He decided to raise that, and he ended up being on a conference call, a Zoom call with the CFO and the CEO, who confirmed that yes, it was the right thing for him to do, was to transfer this money. So he did. The problem was that on the Zoom call, the CFO and the CEO were also deep fakes, so AI-generated deep fakes, that convinced him to do this. So in this new age, if attackers can convincingly impersonate people, it is the new control plane that they're trying to exploit. So we're going to talk today about verified trust, and this is a program that we've introduced at Ping Identity. Gartner have already identified it as being a differentiator from our competitors. So verified trust is one where we're trying to inject those trust signals into every moment of the life cycle of your identity management. And it's not just about providing stronger authentication, additional levels of factors of authentication. It's about proving that there is a real verified human behind every transaction. And it's especially important in this age of AI, because as we've already discovered, with AI, we can't implicitly trust. We can't trust our eyes and our ears like we were able to. We have to ensure that those deep fakes, those synthetic identities, the impersonation, that social engineering that takes place, we have to ensure that we address those scenarios too. So, of course, with the advent of AI, we discover that if cybercrime itself was a country, it would be the world's third largest GDP. It's quite a significant amount of money. It gives you a sort of feel for the scale and the scale and the financial impact that cybercrime has. So I'm not saying that AI is responsible for all of that, but it definitely has an impact where these fraudsters using AI, because of the barrier to entry to use AI is low, it makes it very easy for these fraudsters to attack using these techniques. So the deepfakes, the scale of this is very easy to launch an attack across a big set of businesses, a large business, in order to overwhelm organizations. So these organizations where they were typically dealing with usernames and passwords, that's how we trusted whether a person was allowed to access the information within our business. So what are the numbers behind these AI organized attacks? According to the US Department of Justice, over 300 Fortune 500 companies were found to have hired North Korean operatives. That's an onboarding problem. That's not a username and password problem. That's about understanding whether the person you are hiring is a genuine person. It's who you expect it to be. And 83% of those, or of organizations, I should say, not those organizations, but have experienced an account takeover, that's ATO, an account takeover attack. That means there's probably some of you in this room where there is someone on your member of staff who you don't know who it is. You think it's somebody else. And over 100 organizations have had that attack through the help desk. So again, this is not about necessarily getting credentials off the dark web. This is about using social engineering in things like the help desk, a weak link in the chain, in order to attack on those account takeover scenarios. So we've talked about some of the ways that the attackers work, but what is the impact? So a lot of these have been in the news, and I'm not going to name names, but you may well recognize that a production company that was unable to manufacture their things that they manufacture because of operational disruption, because they had frauds, account taker fraud within their supply chain. Could your business survive 3 weeks of downtime? Then there's the financial exposure. So how do you again, so these numbers, by the way, these are actual real numbers that are taken from the news. So 380, that's not $380, that should be $380 billion. It's a missed revenue of income because you are unable to maybe manufacture things, maybe not have your services running. And never mind that, think about the audit risk. So that failure to meet the regulations. What is the regulator? So I'm sure many of you work in regulated industries. What is the regulator going to say about the fact that you are unable to provide a service or that you've lost data? And then, of course, you've got your loss of trust as well. So it's your employees, it's your business partners, and it's your customers. Are they going to continue to want to work for you, do business with you, or buy things from you if they do not trust you anymore? So quite a lot of impact that these attacks have. Of course, the attacks have an impact to everybody within your business. So there's different personas here that are worried about these attacks. You've got the security leader. They're interested in ensuring that the right security is implemented across the business. You've got your compliance leader, those compliance risks that we've spoken about. If the business is being exposed to those, then they're on the hook. You've got the HR director. They're the ones who are responsible for employing these North Korean operatives. What does it mean for them? Your IT leaders. I mean, I'm sure that you recognise these personas in your business and how the risks and the impacts that I've just spoken about would impact their lives, their daily jobs. So this risk of not knowing who you are actually interacting with spans across the business. And that's because every door matters. So we talked about login. Login is what most people think of as security. It's how you deal with ensuring that the right person is accessing your services. But as we've just discussed, from an onboarding point of view, if you're not onboarding the right people, if you're not onboarding the people who you think you are, you've already got a problem. So it's great, login services are great, but we need to look at how we address that that onboarding point of view, how we build trust from the very beginning and carry forward that trust throughout the life cycle. So through to login, giving people credentials and ensuring that those credentials are used appropriately, but also ensuring that those points of access, so it's not just login, it's also accessing services, apply appropriate levels of friction that measure the level of risk associated with that transaction. And then on the right-hand side there, we've got the help desk. As I already mentioned, the help desk being a potential weak link in the chain. About how the little clue there, scattered spider. I'm sure you've all heard of scattered spider. It's the way that scattered spider attacked these businesses is essentially through the weak link of the help desk, of social engineering the help desk in order to gain access to privileged accounts to then go and attack the business. So this isn't just about a login problem, it's about the whole life cycle of identities within your business. So we need to move models. So the current approach is this implicit trust model. I talk about you log in once, or maybe you do verify once because you are from a regulated industry. You verify once. That implicit trust that I've done it once no longer stands. We have to move from this model of verifying once or logging once and therefore trusting the session into one of explicit trust, where we're looking at all the signals of these different transactions, whether they're onboarding, whether they're access, help desk, obviously we mentioned, but verifying that this is a valid transaction, that it's coming from a user that we know and that we trust. Of course, not every transaction that we're talking about here needs to apply this. It's about appropriately applying this to the model. So that verification of users and identities when it's appropriate. So we get on to the actual verified trust aspect. So this is what the platform that we have has been recognised for by Gartner. We're talking about that verified onboarding, how we take an unknown person into a real known human, and maybe doing that verification at different stages within the life cycle, maybe doing a re-verification. We have people who have implemented verified trust within their business. So some of our customers have implemented this verified trust, and they went through a re-onboarding exercise of their employees using the verification capabilities. And as soon as they announced that they were going to do this, 2 people resigned because they were subsequently found to be not real, as in attackers. They weren't genuine employees. We've also got this verified access. So I've spoken a bit about login, but access isn't just about login. It's about the control of the access to the APIs and services and business applications, and of course that verified help desk scenario. So what do we have within verified onboarding? Well, we've got a tool called Ping1 Verify that enables you to do this liveness check, does deepfake detection, does document checking as well, so your government issued ID, for example, or other sources of record, in order to cross-reference the information that's being provided to guarantee that this is the human who they say they are as part of that onboarding. As part of verified access, there's a risk analysis engine, so Ping1 Protect. So this is looking at different signals when access is occurring. Now that might also be at registration as well. So there might be a new account fraud scenario, typically in SIAM scenarios. But for workforce and for business partner identity, it tends to be more about account takeover and MFA fatigue. So some of the attack vectors that attackers use is MFA bombing. Eventually someone will just accept. So they've gained access to the business. So with Ping1 Protect, we're looking at different signals within this transaction. Where is it coming from? What time of day? Is it a known device? Is it typical behavior for this user in order to establish whether the risk is seen as high or medium or low? And then during that verified help desk scenario, using both the orchestration engine that we have, which is DaVinci, the verification, Ping1 Verify, Ping1 Protect, but also things like Ping1 Recognize, which is privacy preserving facial biometric authentication, not using onboard biometrics of your phone, but using offboard biometrics. If you're using onboard biometrics, you still can't guarantee that it's the person who owns that phone because multiple people can register their biometrics on their phone. So using these techniques as part of that verification to be certain that it's the person at the other end of the phone. And importantly, this happens to apply to every identity provider. Yes, as Ping Identity, we are an identity provider too, but these tools that we're talking about, the orchestration, the multi-factor authentication, the verification, credentials, and Ping1 Recognize all happen across multiple different identity providers. So you do not have to do a rip and replace scenario in order to implement verified trust at your business. So what I just wanted to say is that people who have implemented verified trust in their business have achieved some outcomes, verifiable outcomes. These are actual outcomes from customers. So some customers have implemented verifiable trust to get an 80% reduction in MFA prompts. We talked about MFA bombing as being an attack vector. Therefore, you only get an MFA prompt when it's likely to be real, rather than it just being a continual. Oh yeah, okay, I have to do MFA. I am a customer of one business in the UK. Every time I log in on the laptop to their service to download a receipt, I get an OTP over SMS on my mobile phone. Every single time. And then a 30% reduction in help desk calls, so being able to use verified trust, so being able to use things like Ping1 Verify as part of a password reset, so that you're not having to go through the help desk, you're not allowing them to be susceptible to account takeover or social engineering attacks. And interesting productivity gains, so of course, if an employee is unable to access their service, they're not, and access to the business app because they are not doing work. So if you make it easy for them to recover their account in a secure way, your business will see productivity gains. So I just wanted to close with the fact that, of course, in a world of AI-driven impersonation, we have to continuously re-verify the trust as we go along, and to also to recognise that, of course, we're able to do that across all of your identities, whether those are your employee identities, your business partner identities, or your customer identities, and irrespective of whether you use Ping as your IdP or not. We have many customers that are using Entra, for example, for their workforce identities, and they have applied these techniques with Ping Identity on top of that. So with that, that's all I've got to say. Thank you for your attention. I think there is some time for questions, but if you do want to come and see us, we are out on the stand outside, and we're happy to talk to you more. Thank you very much.